In the last episode, we arrived in Hout Bay. In this episode, we do some boat repairs, we take you to the Cape of Good Hope, and introduce you to some cute little penguins.
Alright, this is a 120 plug. This boat only runs 240, so we need two of these connectors to plug into there and then spliced so they go from two into one, and then it'll plug into their plug-ins over here, which are a lot smaller. And I'll show you
Okay,
there.
so we're going to walk and go get it. We ended up catching a ride with the harbor master because he was going to the same store that might have the parts we needed. Unfortunately, they had nothing that would work with our shore power cables, so John had to buy all the parts to build a whole new cable and run a new cable into the box. Okay, so this box here, the shore power earth leakage overload and the power cables. So here's this box there. But since we couldn't connect these yellow power cables, what did you do, John?
I added the 220 line, tapped into one side of that box. So each one is shore power 1 and shore power 2. So I went into shore power 1 with 220 and just added the plug-in in a box for it.
So this is the back side, where this is underneath the table, and that's where he takes that shore power plug and plugs it into what I just showed you in the back, and then it runs out and plugs into the marina.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
Hout Bay is a small town approximately 30 miles south of Cape Town. We really like it here. We've got local people who live aboard their boats on either side of us, and they're a wealth of information. Plus, it's a lot more affordable than mooring in Cape Town. The Hout Bay Yacht Club and Marina share dock space with the commercial fishing industry. Do that again. He just barked at me. I got too close, I guess, but I'm really not that close. Every now and then, I either wake up or come home to this guy lounging in the cockpit. One of the first things I noticed from the marina was this road across the face of the mountain. I had no idea what it was or where it went, but it looked interesting. This is that roadway. It is the road to Chapman's Peak. It's a toll road that costs 60 Rand, which is currently about $3.50, to drive this road, but it's totally worth it. It is a spectacular drive that curves in and out of every ridge and valley of the mountain. At one point, the road is built into the mountain, so you're driving under a huge ledge of rock. According to the website chapmanspeakdrive.co.za, Chapman's Peak is named after John Chapman, the captain's mate of an English ship called the Consent. The peak which looms over this road was not named after a governor or a brave mountaineer, but a lowly ship's pilot. In 1607, the skipper of the British ship Consent found his vessel becalmed in what is now Hout Bay, and he sent his pilot, John Chapman, to row ashore in the hope of finding provisions. The pilot later recorded the bay as Chapman's Chance, and the name stuck. The spectacular roadway took 7 years to complete, at a cost of £20,000. It was open to the public on Saturday, May the 6th, 1922. Over the years, there have been multiple closures due to rockfall injuries and deaths. The best time to experience Chapman's Peak Drive is at sunset. As you can see here, the setting sun makes the rock face glow as if it were lit from inside. This is the Cape Peninsula. The Cape of Good Hope and Cape Point are both located on the southern tip of this peninsula. It is situated within the Table Mountain National Park, only an hour and a half from Hout Bay, so it's a very easy day trip. The entrance fee for international visitors is 360 Rand, which is currently about $21. You could easily spend a few days here renting one of the cabins from the South African National Parks and doing a lot of hiking. At the very least, I suggest you spend a full day exploring the roads, doing some hiking, stopping for your photo at the famous Cape of Good Hope, and take the funicular or hike up to the Cape Point Lighthouse. From the lighthouse, you will find 360-degree views of the whole area, and it was quite interesting to see from the shore what we had just sailed by a few days before. I took this video in the vertical mode so that you can really get a feel for the elevation and to get a feel for just how vertical those cliff walls actually are. This is the newer of the two lighthouses. It was built in 1914 and it's the most powerful on the South African coast. Here I am at the Cape of Good Hope, and if you watch these waves closely, you'll notice that they're coming in almost perpendicular to each other. This wasn't a particularly windy day as South African winds go, but I was fascinated with the waves and how they violently hit the rocks. While shooting this video, I noticed out of the corner of my eye that it looked like the rocks were moving. On closer observation, there was an enormous herd of these small bugs migrating across the rocks. According to Google, these are Ligia exotica, which is basically just a common sea roach or wharf roach. I couldn't find any reference to why there might be so many of them all in one place going in all the same direction. Before returning back to Hout Bay, we decided to drive through Simonstown, where we'd heard rumor of a penguin colony. This is Boulders Beach. located just south of Simonstown on the coast of Hout Bay. It has become world famous for its thriving colony of African penguins. The sun was going down quickly, so we decided to go back to Hout Bay and return here the next day. That's not a sign you see just anywhere. No penguins under the car. Most people start at the visitor center, where you pay 160 Rand, approximately $10, and from there you walk out along a boardwalk over the beach, and you'll see small penguin colonies tucked in the grass here and there. At the end of that boardwalk, you come to a large viewing platform where you can see the main colony along the beach. According to the website southafrica.net, this colony started in 1983 when a pair was spotted on Foxy Beach at Boulders. The birds came to Hout Bay from Dyer Island at a time when Hout Bay was closed to commercial fishing. They found abundant food and breeding sites, so that meant the African penguin population at Boulders soared as they decided to make this area their home. Thanks to the tourists and numerous conservation organizations, these penguins have a long future at Boulders Beach. We later learned the best plan for Boulders Beach is to enter on the other side of the park, directly into Boulders Beach. You pay the same amount, and the ticket you purchase is good to get you into the visitor center side also. Plan to go as the tide is going out. Head to the rocks on the far side of the beach, then crawl through and over other rocks to First Beach or Middle Beach. These are the best places to actually sit on the beach and watch the penguins come and go. Most people don't take the time and effort to do this, so you might be the only one there. But remember, this has to be done at low tide, otherwise you're trapped or it's a difficult swim. I've got this inside the waterproof case, so I don't think you could hear me, but I've taken the back off the case. The salt spray is so bad. I don't know if you can see over that jetty, the spray coming over the top. See the wind coming across? Oh, that's a big one. So far we've had like a 55-mile-an-hour gust, which isn't uncommon on Whidbey Island, but it just seems so much worse right here. Many of you know I'm a real estate agent by trade, so I'm always fascinated with the local real estate market and housing. This house is high on the hill behind the marina. I thought I'd look it up on Google Earth, and what did I see? Something that looked oddly like the skeleton of a dragon. So I started asking questions, and I learned that this house is owned by a Russian oligarch. He purchased it in 2012, and currently the South African government has frozen all of his assets. So no one really knows what's going on with it at this point in time.
Okay, what I'm doing today is, last time we were out at sea, I was using the water maker to fill the tanks, and this boat is equipped with a Festo automatic tank monitoring system. So what it does is it will fill one tank, then automatically switch to another tank, fill it, automatically switch to the third tank and fill it. And then there's 3 more units behind this wall, so as you use the tanks, they empty out equally. So you can see the 3 are emptying equally, but when I was filling it, this middle tank filled all the way to the top and didn't switch over, didn't close its valve, so it just kept overfilling the center tank. So what I'm doing is I'm going forward and putting in a manual switchover. So I have a new part for this, so I'm going to put the new part in so it works correctly. But if I'm out at sea again and it fails, I can go up there, shut the electric one, close it off, and manually switch tanks. So that's what I'm doing today, is putting manual switchovers in. Okay, so what I did here, first of all, I took this for tank number 1, which is over there. It was coming across here, so when the chain came in, it could have lapped over it, so I ran it over the top of the winch motor. And then over here, it had these plugs in right up here on this rail, and I took the plugs out, ran the hoses down here, so if one of these fail to close, I can close it here, open it here, and it will divert it from going down this hose through here to out this hose. Or I can just close both tanks or both hoses and it'll move to the next tank. So now I can shut and open each one as I want.
Thank you for joining us for all these random things from Hout Bay and the area. Next time, we take a trip to the Okavango Delta in Botswana.